Hi, boys and girls of Chanel. Mrs. Bowman here with the reveal of the mystery bag from the very beginning of the year. So, if you remember, we were talking about the storybook One and Only Ivan, and I had all the items that were in the bag. So, now that you've read the book, I want to talk to you about why I chose the items that I chose to put into the mystery bag. So, the first one, of course, was Ivan. I think you all figured that one out pretty quickly. This was meant to represent the character of Ivan in the story One and Only Ivan. He was the hero of the story. So Ivan, the gorilla. And then, of course, we had Bob the dog. We had, for characters, we had the elephant, the big elephant, and we had the tiny elephant. So if you remember, the big elephant was meant to be Stella, and the tiny one was meant to be Ruby. And of course, we know that Stella and Ruby were very close and together for the very beginning of the book. But then after Stella died, Ruby was all by herself and had to learn how to live on her own with the help of her friends Ivan and, of course, her friend Bob. So that was the two elephants. We also had the crayons. The crayons were for the art supplies that Ivan used. First, he used crayons, and then he moved over to paints to end up making his big billboard message. And then we had the key with the number 9876 and the X's on the back. So the key was meant to be the key to the cage, the domain that all of the animals lived in. And if you remember, Ivan did tally marks to mark how many days he had been at the mall. And he had been there for 9,876 days. We also had the gift bag that said Big Top Mall, which of course was our setting from the story. We had the handprint. So this is a gorilla handprint, a picture of one. And if you notice, it looks a lot like a human hand, a lot like my hand, but just a little bit different. And Ivan did put handprints on his glass domain that eventually got wiped away. But this is what a gorilla handprint would actually look like. And of course, we had the heart, and the heart had lots of words. So it had home, promise, love, friendship, and determination. So if you remember, Ivan used the word home on his message billboard. That was what his big word that he wrote. Promise, he made Stella a promise about helping to save Ruby from the mall. Love between all of the characters in the story. Friendship between all of the characters. And determination of not giving up when things got really hard. So those were all of the things that were in the mystery bag. And of course, I know you really enjoyed reading about Ivan. Got a visit from Ivan in your classroom, hopefully, and really enjoyed the book. I wanted to show you there's actually a second book called The One and Only Bob, which this one actually has Bob, the dog, as the main character. So I wanted to read to you the inside where it talks about the story. I thought you might want to check this book out at the library. So it says Bob is an independent dog. He knows he could still make it on his own if he had to, even though he now has a home with his human friend Julia, regular meals, belly rubs, and a bed to call his own. But most important of all, he still gets to visit his best friends at their new home. Ivan, a silverback gorilla, and Ruby, a young elephant, live nearby in a sanctuary. A home for Bob, a home for his friends, and all the treats he could want. But something's missing. Someone is missing. Someone who Bob thought was gone forever, until the day he realizes she's not. A lot can go wrong in the moment left to chance, the blink of an eye, the bounce of a bone. When a hurricane hits, Bob sets out on a dangerous journey in search of his long-lost sister with the aid of Ivan and Ruby. In this stunning sequel of the modern classic, The One and Only Ivan, Catherine Applegate continues the story of Bob, Ivan, and Ruby as Bob finds courage he never knew he had and discovers a true meaning of friendship, family, and home. So that is the teaser for The One and Only Bob. So I'm really hoping that you might check this book out at the library and learn more about Bob's story.